Hey guys, it's Emma. I'm back. I know it's been a really long time. I have had the worst month of my life. Trust me, I did not disappear for no reason. A lot of stuff has happened, but I am back and I am still pursuing the goal to help you guys. Now, today I want to kind of talk about things that are stereotypes in a relationship, I guess I would say, or just things that I personally think should be abided by. And I just want to say that it is totally okay for you to disagree with me. These are just things that I personally have learned through my experience cause issues, and like I said, if it works for you, it works for you. I'm not judging you, but I am speaking and giving advice based off of my experience to try and follow these things. I'm trying to move my teddy bear because the leg was kind of in the way. But the first thing I want to say is that I think there's a certain level of disloyalty that definitely should not be accepted. My standards for that is just not watching you know what, not flirting with people, and this one might be controversial, but not checking people out. I personally am not okay with that. I find it disrespectful. Like I said, it's okay if you're okay with it. I know that a lot of my family has told me, men are men, you can't really do anything about it. I have met somebody that isn't that way, and I have full trust in that. If you can find that person, that is amazing. I personally find it to be ideal, but again, we might be different, and that's okay. I know I do have a lot of men that watch my videos, so I don't want to be disrespectful in saying this. To me, though, for my relationship, I do view those things as just kind of showing that you can't control yourself, especially if I set that standard and you still can't follow that. That's just me. Another thing is that a relationship should be easy. A relationship does not need to be easy. Most aren't. You'll learn that. Believe me. None of my relationships have been easy. I've only had 2, but one was 2 years long, and it was not easy one bit. But guess what? I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was amazing. And I think that it is so normalized now on the internet because we only see certain aspects of a relationship to just think my relationship should be perfect. You're not perfect as a person, neither is your partner, and congratulations if your relationship is easy, but it's also completely okay if you're going through a rough patch. Of course, you both need to mutually be willing to fix the issues that you have and work on it. Sometimes it can get to a point of toxicity, but if you have that willingness, I promise you it is totally okay to be human and make mistakes, and same thing with your partner. Another thing is I think it is very wrong and easy to do to compare your relationship to somebody else's. I found myself doing that. Definitely don't compare it to a past relationship of yours, please. I think that it is just so not ideal to put an idea in your head of somebody else's relationship that you haven't been a part of, that you don't know everything about, and then say, oh, mine should be that way. Your relationship should be the way that you expect it and your partner expects it, not how somebody else expects it. I know that this idea comes in mind a lot when people are talking to somebody looking for advice and they say something like, oh, my partner would never. Your partner might never, but my partner probably hasn't done a good load of things that your partner hasn't done. And I think it's important to kind of realize that we're all humans and we are flawed in different ways, okay? And it is okay for your partner to be flawed just as it's okay for you to be flawed. And you just have to figure out if you're okay with those flaws, if that makes sense. And then that kind of goes hand in hand with my next one. I think that some people think that you shouldn't have to change for a relationship. And while this is true in some aspects, sometimes you really do need to change your character. And I promise you, if you become infatuated with somebody, that willingness will be there most of the time. Of course, we're human, and there's some aspects of our lives that we aren't willing to let go of. These are things that should be established before you get in a relationship, though. You must understand, though, that just like you, the person that you're with is going to have emotions and not be okay with certain things. And these are things that you might not find everything about them at the beginning. You might find this out later on and be like, oh my gosh, I need to change this because they're having an issue with this. And vice versa. You might think they have to change this issue because I can't keep doing this if it's like this. And you have to be willing to say, okay, this is obviously not helping. I value this relationship over my ego or over this quality I have, and be willing to work on yourself to fix that. Of course, this is very broad. There are certain things, like I said, if you have a passion or a certain lifestyle and you are not willing to let that go, then let that person go. I promise you. But if it's just a quality of yours that is not something that makes you as a person, please understand that it is normal for a person to need you to change in some way, and you're going to change when you're in a relationship. The last thing, and I think a lot of people will disagree with me on this, is that if they wanted to, they would. While in some cases I think that this is true, if you lack communication with a person and they don't understand that they need to do something to make you happy, you can't be mad that they don't do that, if that makes sense. With certain things, if you have communicated those things and those things haven't been followed through with, that's a different story. And I think that in that case, that quote can be true. But a lot of the times, people follow that, but they don't add any communication to the situation. And it's like, as a human being, we have different expectations. We have different love languages. And you have to understand that yours isn't going to be the same as your partner's. You have to learn this. Whether you want to do a love language quiz or ask them and discuss things that you need to feel loved, you need to figure that out. Because if they're not giving you those things and you're just kind of sitting there miserably, not telling them, you can't blame them. You can't hold that resentment over them. You need to communicate those things, and then if they don't do those things, you can get mad at them. Anyways, I'm 17, so I'm still learning, and I'm sure my opinion will change on things as I get older, but right now, that's where I stand, and I would love to hear you guys' feedback, maybe add some things if you can think of anything, and yeah, I hope this helps. I hope you can apply this to your relationship. I hope you can help somebody else with it, and I'll talk to you guys soon, okay? Bye!